Yuuta, a young boy barely a teenager, found himself in an impossible situation. His mother, the vibrant center of his world, was slowly fading away, consumed by a terminal illness. He carried the heavy burden of documenting her final days, filming her every smile, every wince, every whispered word. The camera became an extension of himself, a shield against the crushing reality of her impending absence. He felt a strange detachment, as if watching a movie rather than living his own life. The whirring of the camera was a constant soundtrack to their dwindling time together. He captured the mundane moments, the shared meals, the quiet evenings reading. He documented the more difficult ones too, the trips to the hospital, the increasing frailty, the moments of intense pain. Each press of the record button felt like another nail in the coffin of their shared existence. He struggled to reconcile the image in the viewfinder with the woman he knew and loved. He filmed his mother's slow decline, capturing her dwindling energy. He recorded her labored breaths and the way her once bright eyes grew dim. The weight of the camera in his hands mirrored the weight in his heart. He knew this was a story that needed to be told, a story of love and loss, of a bond that even death couldn't sever. He pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and a desperate desire to preserve her memory. He wondered if he was capturing the essence of his mother, or merely documenting her physical deterioration. He questioned his own motives, unsure if he was filming for her, for himself, or for some unknown audience in the future. The camera became both a comfort and a curse, a constant reminder of the precious time slipping away. He felt like a detached observer, watching his own life unfold through a lens. Yuta's relationship with his mother was a tapestry woven with threads of love, resentment, and a profound sense of obligation. Her illness had intensified their connection, making it both suffocating and precious. She leaned on him, relying on him for emotional and physical support. He felt the weight of her expectations, the unspoken demand that he be strong, that he not crumble under the pressure. He was her anchor, her confidant, her caregiver. He resented the responsibility, the way his childhood was being stolen by the encroaching shadow of death. He yearned for normalcy, for the carefree days before illness had cast its pall over their lives. He felt trapped in a role he hadn't chosen, forced to grow up too fast. He loved his mother fiercely, but that love was intertwined with a tangled mess of complex emotions. He sometimes wished he could escape, to run away from the suffocating atmosphere of illness and impending loss. Yet, he couldn't abandon her. He was bound to her by duty, by love, and by the shared secret of their impending grief. He felt the pressure to be the perfect son, the one who never faltered, never complained. He wore a mask of stoicism, hiding his own pain behind a facade of strength. He knew his mother was manipulating him, using his love and guilt to keep him by her side. He recognized the subtle ways she played on his emotions, making him feel responsible for her well-being. He resented her for it, but he also understood. She was scared, clinging to him as her world shrunk. He was her lifeline, and he couldn't bring himself to sever it, no matter how much it hurt. The death video, as it became known in his mind, was a constant presence, a morbid reminder of his mother's deteriorating condition. It was a project she had conceived, a way to leave a final message for her son, a legacy of love and memories. He initially resisted the idea, finding it macabre and unsettling. He couldn't bear the thought of filming her final moments, of capturing the very act of dying. He felt a growing sense of dread each time she brought it up. The death video became a symbol of his powerlessness, his inability to stop the relentless march of time. He knew it was important to her, a way to maintain some semblance of control in the face of oblivion. He couldn't deny her this final wish, no matter how uncomfortable it made him. He struggled with the ethical implications of the project, questioning whether it was right to document such a private and painful experience. He wondered if it was for her or for him, a way to confront the inevitable or a way to avoid it. The camera became a symbol of both connection and separation, a way to hold on and a way to let go. He eventually agreed to film the death video, driven by a sense of duty and a desire to honor his mother's wishes. He knew it would be a difficult and emotionally draining experience, but he also recognized its potential power. The death video became a testament to their bond, a final act of love in the face of death. He hoped it would bring him closure, a way to say goodbye and to preserve her memory. The film screening at school was meant to be a celebration of his mother's life, a tribute to her strength and resilience. Instead, it turned into a public spectacle of his grief, a brutal dissection of his most private moments. His classmates, unable to comprehend the complexities of his loss, ridiculed his film, mocking his mother's illness and his own vulnerability. Their laughter echoed in his ears, a cruel soundtrack to his humiliation. He watched in horror as his classmates snickered and whispered, their callous indifference a sharp contrast to the raw emotion he had poured into his film. He had exposed his heart, his soul, only to have it trampled upon by their ignorance. The room spun, the laughter growing louder, morphing into a cacophony of judgment and derision. He wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor and escape their cruel gaze. He felt betrayed by his classmates, by their inability to see beyond the surface, to understand the profound love and loss that his film represented. He had hoped for empathy, for connection, but instead he found only ridicule and scorn. The screening became a symbol of his isolation, his inability to bridge the gap between his grief and their indifference. He felt exposed and vulnerable, stripped bare before their judging eyes. The experience shattered his confidence, leaving him feeling raw and exposed. He retreated into himself, withdrawing from the world and its harsh realities. The laughter haunted him, a constant reminder of his vulnerability and the world's capacity for cruelty. He questioned his decision to share his film, wondering if he had made a terrible mistake. He felt like a fool, a naive artist who had dared to believe in the power of empathy. The ridicule and rejection he faced after the screening pushed Yuuta to the brink of despair. He felt utterly alone, adrift in a sea of grief and self-doubt. The world seemed bleak and unforgiving, a place where vulnerability was punished and empathy was a rare commodity. He contemplated suicide, seeing it as the only escape from the crushing weight of his pain. He imagined the release, the quiet oblivion that awaited him. He pictured the world continuing without him, indifferent to his absence. The thought offered a perverse comfort, a strange sense of peace. He saw himself fading away, becoming a ghost, a memory. He felt like a burden, a source of pain for those around him. He started to see the world in shades of grey, the vibrant colours of life leached away by his grief. He lost interest in everything, his passion for filmmaking extinguished by the flames of public humiliation. He saw no future for himself, no path forward. He felt like a broken toy, discarded and forgotten. The world seemed vast and empty, a desolate landscape devoid of hope. The thought of his mother, her memory, was the only thing that tethered him to reality. He imagined her disappointment, her sadness if he were to choose this path. He clung to that image, that faint glimmer of love, as a lifeline in the darkness. He knew he couldn't abandon her, even in death. He had to find a way to carry on, to honor her memory by living his life. In the depths of his despair, Yuuta encountered Eri, a girl who saw the beauty and truth in his film. She approached him with kindness and understanding, offering a lifeline in the darkness. She didn't shy away from his pain, but instead embraced it, acknowledging the raw emotion and vulnerability that his classmates had mocked. Her words were a balm to his wounded soul, a validation of his experience. She saw beyond the awkwardness of his filmmaking, recognizing the genuine grief and love that permeated every frame. She understood the complexities of his relationship with his mother, the tangled web of love, resentment, and obligation. She saw him, truly saw him, for who he was, a young boy grappling with unimaginable loss. Her empathy was a beacon of light in his darkness. Their conversation was a turning point, a shift from despair to a glimmer of hope. She didn't offer platitudes or empty condolences. Instead, she engaged with his work, offering insightful critiques and genuine praise. She challenged him to think differently about his art, to see its potential for healing and connection. Her words were a catalyst, igniting a spark of possibility within him. Eri's acceptance of his film was transformative. It gave him the courage to confront his grief, to see it not as a source of shame, but as a testament to his love for his mother. He began to see the value in his work, the power of storytelling to connect with others, to bridge the gap between individual experiences and shared human emotions. He realized that his film, despite its flaws, had touched someone, had resonated with Eri's own experiences of loss and grief. Eri's suggestion to create a new film, a fantastical story filled with magic and wonder, was a revelation. It offered Yuuta an escape from the suffocating reality of his grief, a chance to explore different emotions, different worlds. It was an invitation to reclaim his passion for filmmaking, to use his art as a tool for healing and self-discovery. He embraced the idea with a newfound enthusiasm, eager to embark on this creative adventure. The prospect of creating something new, something fantastical, was a breath of fresh air. It provided a welcome distraction from the darkness that had consumed him. He began to imagine new characters, new stories, new possibilities. The world of filmmaking, once a source of pain and humiliation, became a source of solace and excitement once more. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a drive to create something beautiful and meaningful. He started to research different genres, different filmmaking techniques, eager to expand his knowledge and hone his craft. He devoured books on mythology, fantasy, and science fiction, drawing inspiration from the rich tapestry of human imagination. He began to see the world through a different lens, noticing the magic in the everyday, the potential for wonder in the mundane. He felt a reawakening of his creative spirit, a renewed sense of possibility. The new project became a form of therapy, a way to process his grief through the lens of fantasy. He poured his emotions into his work, channeling his pain and loss into the creation of something beautiful and meaningful. He found solace in the act of creation, in the power of storytelling to transform darkness into light. He began to heal, to find a way forward through the transformative power of art. As they worked on the new film together, Yuuta and Eri's bond deepened. They discovered a shared passion for storytelling, for crafting narratives that explored the complexities of human experience. They spent hours discussing plot points, character development, and the nuances of visual language. Their collaboration became a source of mutual support and inspiration, a creative partnership forged in the crucible of shared grief. They challenged each other, pushing each other to be better filmmakers, better storytellers. They debated ideas, experimented with different techniques, and learned from each other's strengths and weaknesses. Their shared passion for film became a powerful force, driving them forward, inspiring them to create something truly special. They found comfort in their shared understanding of loss and grief, a bond that transcended words. Their conversations extended beyond filmmaking, delving into their personal lives, their dreams, their fears. They shared their vulnerabilities, their insecurities, creating a safe space for emotional honesty and mutual support. Their friendship became a source of strength and resilience, a reminder that they were not alone in their grief. They found solace in their shared experiences, a connection that transcended their individual pain. They learned from each other, not just about filmmaking, but about life, about loss, and about the power of human connection. Eri's optimism and resilience inspired Yuuta to confront his own demons, to find a way forward through the darkness. He, in turn, helped Eri to process her own grief, to find a way to express her emotions through art. Their friendship became a testament to the healing power of human connection,